Can I, I'm sorry to keep going on and on like this, but can I just quickly ask Chad, is it a little bit better now?
Please do, please do.
Please do, please do.
I'm just waiting for the response. There's a little bit of a delay on twitch.tv, the streaming service.
Chad, you got to turn
better.
your VSync off?
I had to
Oh,
put
man.
the settings on medium.
I've been there. I mean, I've played PUBG looking like it was a Game Boy Advance game for like a year.
I remember that.
I'm getting some screen tearing on my end now, though. Maybe I
That's
need
okay.
to make sure that VSync is on.
PUBG is also, there was a time where PUBG ran so badly for me that it made my Discord sound like a robot, which is something I've never experienced in any other game as long as I've lived.
One time I was playing PUBG and it made my family disappear.
One time I was playing PUBG and player unknown knows my name.
It knows my name. Jamie!
Hey, Sips, remember last week how I had a cold and I was trying to eat my way out of it?
Okay, I would just like to, before you tell me that you accidentally ate cat shit, I heard that you accidentally might have eaten cat shit.
Eden is, I don't think that's the
Ingested.
word. Yes, I
You
don't.
weren't snacking on cat shit. Sorry.
Correct. I think
Wow.
it is possible that, I mean, it's just one of many hypotheses I have open to me right now. I think it's possible I was contaminated with some fecal, I don't even know what you call it, like a parasite or some kind of fecal-borne illness via the fecal-oral route,
Sure.
as it happens all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, it does. Just humans that just aren't very good at Fortnite.
Yo, Gold Spider-Man, get away from me. I'm sandwalking in front of Sakura right now. I'm trying to impress her by showing her that if we ever end up on the desert planet of Arrakis, I know how to walk to not summon the... What's the worm called again? The Bene Gesserit?
Hey, the skin that you got, the Dune skin that you got, Malf, is that a battle pass thing or
It's
is
not
that
a Dune
just
skin.
Oh, it's not?
No, I can't remember what it is.
No,
There's like-
Malf's wearing the Balenciagas, right?
That's it, yeah.
What's that from?
I don't know.
That's
It's
just,
odd,
it's a
man. Do
designer
you need to-
brand.
Oh, right. Okay.
Balenciaga is a designer brand, but also they did a collaboration in the real world with Fortnite. So you can buy like a Balenciaga sweater that has all of the named Fortnite locations written on the back of the sweater.
Who would ever want to buy that?
I put it on my Farfetch wish list immediately. If anyone's looking for a
Okay.
late Father's Day present.
Hey, did you get any presents for Father's Day?
I got the classics, man. I got socks,
I knew it.
underwear,
You got
and
some.
Yeah.
I got some workout shirts and some workout
What?
towels.
You didn't get any shower gel?
I did not get any all-in-one shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, deodorant,
Nice.
tax software body wash.
What about chocolate? Did you get any chocolate?
I did not. Well, because, like, who's going to give
Come
me a
on.
Father's Day gift except my wife? Like, my baby's only
Yeah.
20 months old right now.
Right.
So she got me some very useful stuff. I'm not going to deny it. Sips, you ever notice how many parents at the playground just look at their cell phones the whole time and don't actually watch their kids?
Yes. It's staggering how many.
Yeah, but the real
the
tickers,
worst is
they're
when they're still looking at their phones when their kid is like attacking your kid
That's
and
the
running in the
impetus.
road and swearing and stuff, and you're just like, can you just go home with your kid now, like, and stop looking at your damn
The
phone?
thing is, they're on their phone looking at TikToks of other kids doing impressive things, and they're like, "Why doesn't my
They are, yeah. They're on /r/made me smile looking at other parents having a fun time with their kids. while they ignore
Jacksonian,
theirs.
Jacksonian, how come you can't do the milk crate challenge?
Wait, what's the milk crate challenge?
That's where you set up milk crates in like a pyramid, and
Yeah.
then you try to walk over. On
Oh,
top
I
of
thought
all
it
of
was
them.
like karate chopping a milk
You
crate.
gotta do it like you gotta set it up in like wacky places though, like on the side of a busy street or like in a shopping mall, busy shopping mall, in a farmer's market, at the bank.
I was laughing because I was pushing my daughter in the swing, and then there was like a dad with his daughter, who was around the same age, like maybe 2 years old. And she was just kind of running around the swing area, and I was on edge because I'm like, now I gotta like supervise your kid, because if they bolt out in front of this swing, they're gonna get kicked in the fucking head unless, you know, you're paying attention. And then wouldn't you know it, like sure enough, the kid goes to walk in front of the swing while my daughter's swinging. So I go, whoa, 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 and I stop my swing, and then the dad came over without even looking up from his phone and was like, "Thanks, man." I was, yeah,
well, at least it could have been worse. He could have been like, "Don't talk to my kids like that."
Some creep,
which sometimes happens, and you're like, "Well, you know what? I wouldn't have to talk to your kids like that if your kids weren't just a bunch of assholes." Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at the kids, you know, because
no, of course
they're like,
it's not their fault.
Especially,
they didn't,
you know, like,
they didn't choose their awful parents. There's somebody on me, by the way.
I got you, brother. Oh, oh, Nasty Boy 67. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
That was for sure.
Don't say it, dude. Don't say it.
There's no way that that was a human being. Nobody is more stupid than me, and that was the type of play I would do.
You really think they would name a bot Nasty Boy?
Nasty. I think they would.
Holy cow! You think they would name a bot Hamster Taxi?
I'm gonna finish him off. Got him. Oh shit! There's somebody down here. Bot friend was down here. I killed him.
What are you doing? You don't even know I landed like 200 damage on that guy. And then you shoot him and he dies in one hit, and you go bot down here. So disrespectful.
I used my shotgun. I just clapped him.
It's so disrespectful, man. Have you reached that point yet where your oldest is better than you at some games?
Yes.
What's
He's
that
really
like?
good at Super Smash Brothers. And like I thought, oh yeah, I'll play against him and I'll win. And he beats me every time. And he's so smug with it as well, you know, like I'll really try, be like, okay, I actually just want to win one round, like just to see how that feels. And he'll just kick my ass, and then I ground him.
That seems fair.
Yeah. I just say, oh well, fine. You lose watching TV privileges for a whole week.
You should just start
like
to
them
institute house rules, like you can't play as Jigglypuff anymore.
Yeah.
No, he always plays as Kirby, but he seems to like own. I don't know.
Sips, did you? I linked you. Kenny versus Spenny's on YouTube in 4K.
Oh yeah, I remember you linked me that, but then I completely forgot about it. I'll watch that.
Yeah,
are you
it's
linking
like...
it because it's Kenny versus Spenny, or because you know how much Sips loves 4K?
Both?
Wait, did you link it in 4K?
Well, he uploaded season 1 in 4K, and I was like, you know, if this will be the extra sauce that gets Sips to finally watch it, you know.
I love 4K. I don't know what it is, but I do like it a lot.
But dude, the first one's like who can lose the most weight. The show, it gets zanier through the seasons as well, but the first one's like, it's tame enough, but I mean, I know you like the vulgar, nasty stuff, so you'll love the show.
Oh, I do, yeah. Man, I watched a real vulgar, nasty one earlier in the week. It was called the 15 billion pound railroad, and it's about the new Elizabeth line that they opened in London. Holy shit, that was so fucking nasty.
Just trains and tunnels.
It was meant to be done in 2019, and they only opened it this year. It's 3 years late.
Oh yeah.
Man.
And instead of 15 billion, it was 19 billion.
Oh,
It actually made me physically sick.
Well, because you paid for it too.
Exactly. It's disgraceful. They should do better. I mean, I'm not going to go down there and dig the holes myself or anything either, but like I can commentate for sure and say, that's fucking disgraceful. Couldn't they do it quicker? I mean, what's going on?
It's an unspoken agreement, you know. They select the contractor that's buddy with them, and then you know they let them.
And I mean, it's kind of nice of them to wait for the actual Queen's Jubilee.
Right. Yeah, that's important.
Because then, like, as part of the celebrations of her big Jubilee,
she can ride
the
subway.
Like, one will open the new line, and then she did. She opened it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for her. I have two.
She
kegs,
can
by
barely
the way.
walk now. She's so old, but she walked all the way to the new station, Kensington.
She was
and
probably like, I
opened
wish this shit was done in 2019.
it. Yeah, but you know,
What took you guys so
it
long?
wasn't. Yeah,
Why doesn't she just get a Segway?
I don't know.
Dude, I would love to see the Queen riding one of those like uni-wheel hoverboards with their hands in her pocket, like everybody else. Brrrr.
Yeah, didn't Bill Gates have one?
Malf, did you see that the Canucks landed Kuzmenko?
Kuzmenko.
It's not a D's. It's not a
Oh.
D's.
Yeah, oh my God! Did you guys hear that they landed? Fuck. There's a guy still by the tree. It's the
Yeah, that's the third
he's
guy.
still alive.
I told you.
He's dead.
Jesus Christ!
It's the only thing. It's not really like relevant to anything unless you're into hockey. But there was a mad dash to ask Kuzmenko to the prom because he's a Russian free agent who doesn't have to go through the draft, right? So any team can grab him. So I knew we were in a great spot when I saw his photo from Vancouver, and they were eating at Blue Water Cafe, which is like one of the most pog restaurants in the city. And then I saw his photo from Edmonton, and they were eating at Joey's, which is basically like an upscale Burger King chain restaurant.
Well, like
I was
Joey
like,
Russo.
well, I don't even know who that is, to be honest. but-
Oh, from Blossom, remember? Whoa!
I was
Hey,
like,
Blossom.
I've never
Whoa.
seen Blossom, Sips. I don't know.
I feel like if I keep doing famous quotes from Blossom, it'll trigger your memory. You
Blossom
had to
is
have
so
seen it.
old that the only familiarity I have with it is whenever I go to a website and they serve me like those clickbait ads at the bottom. It's always like, you'll never guess what she looks like now, and it's a picture of like Blossom. That's all I know
Right.
about it, is that she
And
looks
you
different
don't
now.
remember Joey going, "Whoa."
I've never seen the show even a single time in my entire life.
I can't believe it.
You know what? I'll take it.
I can't believe you never seen
Then
Blossom.
Joey's always like, whoa.
Yeah, that was his famous trademark.
But it was like, you know, imagine if you were trying to recruit Cristiano Ronaldo to Jersey Football Club,
Yeah.
and then when he went to,
I did try to do that, actually.
did in Football Manager.
Oh,
yeah.
this guy's that good? I haven't really heard of him.
No, I think he's just like, you know, anytime there's like
You never heard of Cristiano Ronaldo?
he's
No, 'cause
really
then
good, Mouth.
He's super good, by the way.
Kuzmenko is just like every year there's always like some guy who's like, I'm going to come to the NHL, and then he usually just gets courted because you don't have to go through the draft or anything.
Yeah.
You get something for nothing.
Maybe he'll be the next Kucherov.
That would be nice. I think it's getting your hopes up a little too much. But
getting
imagine
all
you
hopes
took
up.
Cristiano, you were trying to court Cristiano
forget
Ronaldo, and you took him to the best restaurant in Jersey. Then he was gonna
Yeah.
go be on like, you know, London
Wimpy Burger?
FC. And they
I
took
don't know
him
if
to-
he'd like Wimpy Burger, but that is.
Well, either way,
hands
the point
down
is,
the
it's still
best
better than
restaurant in Jersey.
Weatherspoons. Okay, it's still better than Weatherspoons.
I don't know. It's debatable, actually. Wimpy or Weatherspoons? It's like, it's a close call.
I had to fight just to get it out. It was like a 45-second bid. We're on minute 8.
Sorry.
The whole joke is just that I know the name of a bad British restaurant.
Weatherspoons.
Yes.
It's back.
Nando's.
Nando's is not bad. Also, it's not British.
Oh, I thought it
from-
was.
It's
from
in South Africa.
Mozambique.
Okay, but calling it a cheeky Nando's is very British, right?
Yeah.
Nobody else is calling it a cheeky Nando's anywhere
I did.
else.
At my old job, I worked with. She was from Ireland, and she came over a few years prior, and
What's her name?
there was a Nando's in Toronto, which I didn't know about,
Sinead?
but she wouldn't freaking
Siobhan?
shut up about it. She's like, guys, we've got to go to Nando's, and we finally
That's not an
go.
Irish accent at all, Mel.
That is. Hello, I'm also trying to do an Irish girl, so it's a little harder. Okay.
Right,
We've
okay.
got to go to Nando's, and then we
Okay.
went, and I was like, She hyped it up for like a month straight, and it wasn't that good.
I think it's pretty good by
I mean, it's
like
probably
Swiss
fine.
Chalet standards.
Well, that's a very low bar. Which reminds me,
Hey, is Red Lobster still going?
Oh, yeah,
You still get the
it's-
bib and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's still
Probably.
around. Dude, honestly, I fuck with Red Lobster. I've eaten there once in the last 10
What
years,
about
but I fuck with it.
Saint Hubert? Think
Yeah, it's
that
it's
I
still
wouldn't know,
It's a
honestly.
brand. I don't like.
Swiss Chalet.
Swiss
You can buy
Chalet is
Manu
kind
Bear
of
stuff.
still around, but Swiss Chalet has taken a real PR hit ever since
Right.
people started eating food that has seasoning on it.
Yeah.
Oh right. They just can't compete anymore. Damn.
They're like, what the hell,
Their
man?
taste buds have evolved.
I thought we all promised we weren't going to use any salt.
Oh man, fucking.
I feel like Red Lobster took a serious beating in public because there was like a discourse on social media about whether or not it's an acceptable fancy restaurant. Like if a date took you to Red Lobster, would you be like, oh, that's, I guess, quote unquote, good enough? I don't think it's like a fancy restaurant, but I do like eating a lot of like coconut shrimp. And the Cheddar Bay biscuits are like a given. Is there a DC comic where Batman teams up with FaZe Clan? That's true. That's pretty true. Batman FaZe Clan. FaZe up. Oh, man. That's kind of amazing. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know what FaZe Clan really is. I mean, I know that it's an esports organization, but I don't know like what... I don't know what their thing is at all. For the uninitiated, if the Justice League represents the world's most iconic superheroes, then FaZe Clan, an esports organization which has dominated all the world's most popular titles since 2010, represents some of the most iconic players in competitive video gaming. Last September's Batman Cross FaZe Clan comic book crossover brought DC's most legendary hero in touch with the modern gaming world for the first time in a very limited engagement that sold out immediately. Many people are saying this, but we couldn't leave you hanging like that. By popular demand, this one-of-a-kind adventure is now available on DC Universe Infinite and in comic stores everywhere. In Batman FaZe Clan, the hottest new virtual reality game console proves to be a trap orchestrated by the Riddler, who has designed the technology to control its user's mind. Batman knows just who to turn to in order to fight the Riddler on his digital home turf, of course, the world's greatest computer hacker, Oracle. Okay, this is incredible. This is a gamer issue. Batman's a dinosaur. What could he even do? I hope you all realize how serious this is. Lives are at stake. Let us handle this, Batman. Banks may seem like he's all about the money, but they call him Banks for his incredibly impressive bank shots. Amazing. Think of him as FaZe's own Green Arrow. I can't do this. You'll have to. Trust yourself, Rain. All right, I've done this a million times. It's just another trick shot. Oracle, tell me you can clip that. Dude, this is incredible. FaZe Temper. I've heard of marathon streams, but this is getting ridiculous. How do we get them out of this? Don't think Rage when you think about Temper. Instead, think about Tempered Steel. When Temper joined FaZe Clan, it was just a small group with a following still in the triple digits. But through ceaseless dedication, Temper helped build FaZe Clan into the juggernaut of the gaming world that it is today. This man of steel could only be FaZe Clan's Superman. Hey everyone, I thought for today's vlog we could prank, Rug? Cool, cool. Looks like you guys are busy. Hey, gaming can get pretty intense when you're always fighting to stay on top. So to keep the spirits high and the team together, every team needs a Joker to lighten the mood. No, not that Joker. Always ready with a new idea for an internet-breaking prank, sure to launch them to the next level of stardom. Rug is a kindred spirit to Booster Gold. This is incredible. You don't say that. What's up, clowns? Temper, my back's starting to hurt from always having to carry you. Joker's made copies of himself. I'm sending you a heartbeat scanner to find the real one. Another member of FaZe support team, Adapt is one of the youngest members of the team, but with his many talents and constant output, the man of the clan is always about the hustle. Adapt never slows down for a moment, which is why we're calling him the Flash. Holy cow. That's unbelievable. Let's look at the reviews here. It has a 2.7 average rating. DJoel01 says, I don't even know what FaZe Clan is. Can I get my money back, please? Why something like is even exist? Question mark, question mark, question mark. This book made me irrationally angry. Pick this up if you want to read it ironically. If you read this for the cringe, you will have a good time. We truly live in a clown world. My local comic store has a sign on this comic book that says, please buy me, I'm terrible. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. What are those? Dude, so true. Oh, man. Anyway, thank you for that intel. I had no idea. I had no clue. All the gamer systems are back online. Peeing, drinking water, eating food, everything's back, baby. I rode the Peloton this morning. Wasn't the best output I've ever had in my life, but just to survive a 30-minute jam band ride with Dennis Morton without dying on the bike was kind of like a nice change. Add me? Corey, I added you already. I saw your nightmarish profile photo. My God. You trying to scare all the people on Peloton whose name is like, let's go Brandon 2017, and then their photo is like an American flag, but with Mickey Mouse instead of the stars on them? You're gonna give people some heart attacks on the Peloton, man. Where would you rank Minami and Miku for Vancouver sushi? So I'm assuming the only reason you would ask me that question is you were in Vancouver, you ate at Minami or Miku, and now you're doing what I do, which is Googling a restaurant that I enjoyed in order to validate my opinions on said restaurant. I'm gonna just raise my damage up here a little bit. I am happy to not be the bearer of bad news and say that both Miku and Minami I would place very highly in the Vancouver sushi rankings. Obviously they're a little bit more upscale, but they would be up there. But so congratulations if that's your pick for good Vancouver sushi. I agree with you. I think you've done I think you've done yourself a solid with that choice, Jesse. I mean, when you're talking Vancouver sushi, you really gotta delineate between a few different categories, right? Holy cow, it's already going off. You know, if you're going like best in class, then I do think you're looking at a Miku or a Minami. But a lot of people might think, you know, I know Tojo is popular, but you know, there's other categories. If you're talking value sushi, I feel like Hitaway in Kitsilano is like it was an unappreciated gem when I moved to Vancouver, and even still, you know, we don't find ourselves in the neighborhood that often, but I'm always impressed with the quality of the sushi, the price, and the fact that there's like nobody in the restaurant. Well, not nobody, because usually there's a wait, but the restaurant is like, you know, 8 tables or something. You ever been to Saku? Oh, hey, I've been to Saku. Saku is, I mean, I think it's great, but it is also... Give me one of these. It's a, it's the restaurant that made me realize that I can't really eat, tonkatsu anymore. Because every time I would eat at Saku, my stomach would start rumbling like an hour later, but not in like a hungry way. I've been to Raisu as well. I thought Raisu was Naisu. I like all that stuff. All the restaurants from that restaurant group. Like Raggio is from the same company. It's a great izakaya restaurant, also in Kitsilano. Kingyo, always busy. Very good the few times I've been there, for sure. Dude, I just want even more bullets. We're spoiled for choice right now. You're farming +2s? It's just called entertaining people. What are these words? I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little local pilled, okay? I'm melding into the 4th dimension. Why? Because of the Vancouver dialogue? I mean, what else do you want me to talk about, you know? I watched that Iron Chef show, and I was like, honestly, I mean, you're gonna make me say it, they should just give Iron Chef back to Japan. Because the show... You're gonna know exactly... Some people are gonna pretend that what I'm about to say is, like, messed up. But you're gonna know what I mean. The new Iron Chef is simply too American. They've added... It's American in all the aspects that is just, like... It leads to overkill on television. It's too staged. It's too quippy. It's too slick. Like it needs to go back to that. You know, I like the pageantry of the original Iron Chef. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't need the extra slickness. You know, just the fact that it's such an over-the-top thing to begin with should speak for itself. You don't need to have the dude from John Wick 3 doing the. He's always doing like weird Tai Chi to like start the. To introduce the secret ingredient and stuff like it's just too much. It needs a baby monkey? Okay, maybe if they could get an animal to co-host the show as well. Or if they could get, like, if halfway through the show they just went, you know, bear on a bicycle break, and then like a bear rode by on a bicycle and everyone had to look at it, and then like that would be cool as well. Something like that. The cartel monkey died? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What the hell is the cartel monkey? Never heard of this before in my life. Is that like the Dalai Lama? The cartel monkey? He had a bulletproof vest on? What is this? Is this like they did surgery on a grape? I don't understand. Nobody has explained what the cartel monkey is. They just keep adding more and more details onto the story. Anyway, that was pretty much my weekend. I watched like 2 episodes of Iron Chef. On Saturday, we hung out with our in-laws. They came down to Canada for a day trip. It was pretty fun. Went to the playground. Ate at a Korean restaurant. Sunday, went to the park a lot, but not really anecdote rich. Just a lot of my baby like going down the slide. And really like, admittedly, we didn't get to talk about it maybe as much as I would have liked, but probably more than Chad would have liked. If you don't find yourself, because there was like 20 years basically in my life between like 10 and 30 where I never went to a park. I didn't see the purpose of one. Like, okay, it's nice green space. It looks gorgeous as you like, you know, drive by, but so what? Now that I have a child, I understand the park. Again, I've rediscovered the value of the park, okay? Not to say you can only go if you have a kid, because I see people there, you know, reading in the grass or whatever, trying to take a nap. But it's crazy at the park, just realizing like how many parents are just like completely over their kids. like when I saved that one dad's kid from getting hit by the swing, I was like, if that ever happened to me, I would have like a serious moment of self-awareness and self-reflection. But he was just like, thank you, and then you know, went on with his day again. They're just letting, I think that I went to the park with my daughter because I was like, it's Father's Day. I would love to spend some quality time with my child. But some people go to the park with their kid because they're like, I can't look at this kid inside for like another 2 seconds. So I'm just going to go to the park and let them run amok. And whatever they do at the park, well, that's like the park's problem. That's not my problem. I don't know. Definitely some different parenting styles out there. Probably beaten down by the corporate world. Okay, well, you fucking, you know, if you're 20, then that's fine. If you're a kid, or if you have a kid, nut the fuck up. You know, like, I'm not saying you gotta be super dad 100% of the time, but like, you gotta at least pay attention. Oh, sorry to my 2-year-old child, I'm just really stressed out from work. Okay, you can like be stressed out, but at the same time, it's your kid, man. Sorry, honey, I'd love to give you the attention that I feel you deserve, but I really just gotta respond to these emails real quick. I really just gotta sign these forms on the dotted line. It's crazy to me. Detached streamer take? I mean, maybe this is painting your argument in bad faith, but it really sounds like you're like, if only I was a streamer, I'd be like a good parent. I don't know. Maybe it's out of touch. Kind of sounds like an attitude issue to me. Kind of sounds like a skill issue to me. I didn't realize if you had a hard job, you get a free pass to be like not a good parent. But maybe I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. I don't understand why the playground allows parents who just like don't watch their kids. I mean, you would think like that's their one job. Like, I would spend any amount of money on a sports psychologist in order to fix this problem. Would love to hear your opinion on this. Go ahead. Argue with this without telling me in no uncertain terms you came here just to be mad for no reason. Oh, that's a lot of pluses, man. Sounds like you observe the other parents more than your kid. Dude, honestly, it sounds like you've never been around like a 2-year-old child, Goggy. You can supervise a 2-year-old child and also observe the world around you. In fact, you have to observe the world around you because, you know, half of the problems are going to come from your child and half of the problems are going to come from the stuff that's in the environment. Like, there's a little something they recently invented. I almost lost it for a while because of my underage glaucoma diagnosis, but it's called the peripheral vision. You can keep an eye on a couple of things at once. That's why vision is like one of the goated senses, honestly. Because it really only takes like a fraction of a second to get a 360-degree appraisal of where you're at. It's a B tier sense. Vision is probably the only... Well, I don't know. Touch is heavily underrated. But vision is definitely one of the S tier senses. I apologize if you're visually impaired. I mean, I'm visually impaired on a level. I'm just saying, for my own appraisal of how much I use it in my day-to-day life, vision's got to be #1 for me. Smell is actually a detriment, as I'm finding, because now that I'm recovering from food poisoning, for some reason, probably because my body's like, hey, don't eat, like, poison, my sense of smell has gotten amazing. And it fucking sucks most of the time, because for every, like, you know, beautiful croissant that you smell when you walk by a bakery or something like that, there's like 20 alleys just stuffed with, like, rotten garbage. So smell is almost like, I mean, I get that it keeps you safe, don't get me wrong, but it's almost a negative in terms of my quality of life right now. Taste is a good one, but I gotta be honest, taste is kind of like a nice to have. If it really came down to it, and they were like, you know, you gotta give up vision or taste, it wouldn't even be a... I would not try to weasel my way out of it. I would be like, take the taste. It would suck. I would not be like, oh, it's so awesome that I lost my sense of taste. But I would be like, versus my sense of vision, absolutely. Touch is always a tricky one, because I feel like without a sense of, like, you know, touch, you... it's very hard for you to position yourself within the world. But it's gotta be, like, touch and sight are way up there. I might rather have touch than sight, just because, I don't know, touch is, like, so foundational. Thank God NL's bad at Bullet House. Be happy you won imaginary points without being rude 2022 challenge. There is no NL. It's just me. People are like, you can't be offended. I said your Twitch name. That's me, motherfucker! I'm that guy! I am not an experiment performed by Harvard Business School for the last 10 years, as much as I wish. I do actually, you know what? I totally forgot to mention. I also watched... I have a rare hot movie take. And this is... I disagree with the populace, or at least the intelligista on this one. I watched the new Netflix sci-fi movie Spiderhead, starring Miles Teller and Chris Hemsworth. And I want to be clear... I did not think it was the most incredible movie I've ever seen in my entire life. But when I watched it, I was like, you know what? That was pretty fun. I'd slot that in like the 7 range. I was a little surprised to log on to my favorite shit on movies websites and find people shitting on this movie. I thought I would give it a solid 7. It had heavy, like, you know, student YouTube film energy, but basically what I'm saying is a unique and perhaps overly precious premise. But apart from that, I enjoyed it. Or maybe because of that, I enjoyed it. I think, at the very least, I think it's fine. If you were thinking about watching it, as far as... You know what I would describe it as? At worst, it's like kind of a middling Black Mirror episode. Not like the really bad ones, like the one with the dogs, or the one where the lady simply cannot stop murdering people in order to cover up her first murder. But like a middling episode. So when you watch, even at the end of it, you won't be like, oh, that was an extreme waste of my time. You'll be like, oh, they could have done this, and this better, but... The dogs episode is good. Stare. Stare. I will say for all the... For all the shit that I talked about that last season of Black Mirror, maybe the joke's on me because I do kind of miss it. Now that Netflix is just reality TV shows about selling houses in Nashville, I'm like, I kind of miss it a little bit, I gotta say. But there's that great tweet that's like, Black Mirror Season 1, you know, here's the negative repercussions hitherto unconsidered about our rising reliance on technology. Black Mirror in Season 5, what if you and your friend could fuck while you played Street Fighter? I love that tweet. Because it's true, man. It did go there. I loved when you asked, what's your strategy for Melania? And he said, usually I just get in there. Incredible insight. You know, it's the classic, like, you know, Wayne Gretzky made a horrible NHL coach? Because I'm sure that he was like, you know, when people on the 2007 Arizona Coyotes were like, hey, Wayne, hey, coach, what should I do? He was like, oh, how about you just pass the puck to where your teammate is going to be, even though they don't know that they're going to be there yet. Why don't you just pass the puck into the exact perfect zone using your psychic powers, and then they'll score a goal. He didn't make it too far. I've had some messed up pizzas, but it's usually the delivery driver's fault. It's not the restaurant's fault. Like the time that the DoorDash, it was the first time my parents had ever used DoorDash, and they were like, I don't know, we're skeptical. And then I was like, it's actually like the easiest thing in the world. We definitely want Holy Shield here. Like you can order any food you want and it'll arrive in like 45 minutes maximum. And then the guy showed up with the pizza boxes. Of course they chose pizza, but anyway. But it wasn't one of the normal chain delivery places, and that's the true beauty of DoorDash. Anyway, he showed up and he pulled the pizza boxes out of his delivery bag, but they were all like on their ends instead of stacked flat. And I was like, oh, shit. And then, my dad opened his pizza box and like the whole pizza had slid over to one side and was like just rolled up on top of itself, and all the toppings had fallen off. And we just, all I could do was laugh, man. It was so funny because I think we had also the whole order was an ordeal, because I remember like the driver called me. Or I think, no, I called the driver because, like, it put the pin, like, our address was in right, but then the map integration was horrible. Like, it was sending them across town. So I called the driver and was like, hey, just so you know, it's sending you across town, but here's where our actual address is. And he just started, like, swearing at me and being like, this is ridiculous, man. I don't know, like, why I do this. And I was really awkward and kind of, like, you know, just quiet. And then he said, wait, are you the customer or are you DoorDash? And I said, I'm the customer. And he said, oh, sorry, man, I'll be there soon. And then we hung up. I guess he thought it was like DoorDash support that had called, and instead he just made me feel like real bad about it. And then I think maybe what happened is that he was so pissed off, he just took the pizzas and was like, I'm just gonna fuck these up a little bit. Busted. That's a good one from the vault. That's a classic classic anecdote from a long time ago. Well, I don't know. That was actually, it was with 2019, I'd say. It's not that long ago. Give me the HP. You guys realize that we're actually kind of at the point where we could crystallize like how we feel about the 2010s a little bit. Like when you think about the 2000s, what do you think about? I think about boy bands, girl groups, the end of American Innocence. I think about The Daily Show. I think about the Gen 1 iPod with a click wheel. I think about the 2000s. I think of nu metal, Audio Slave, the rise of social media, 3D movies, BP oil spill. Sure, all right. I mean, I'm not sure where you're trying to be such a downer. Time to die. We should be at the point where we can sort of think about the 2010s like that. I don't know. What do I think about the 2010s so far? I don't have a great answer for it. I feel like I kind of got to think about it. You know what? How about this? How about Armed and Ready? Dark Souls? Okay, sure. Dark Souls and Pokemon Go. We're not just naming... You really got to pick, like, just a couple of video games. Otherwise, you're just listing video games that came out in a decade. I definitely, as this might seem minor, I do think of the 2010s as, like, one of the most important rises. Maybe not in terms of, like, you know, quality of life, but just in terms of cultural relevancy, was the rise of the delivery apps, man. In 2010, if you said, let's order something for dinner, you're like, sure, what do you want, pizza or Chinese food? I'm alive again? Nowadays, in a way, it actually sucks because the question is way harder. What do you want? Every restaurant in the city is on one of two apps. Rise of streaming? Speak on that. What do you mean by that? 2010s is definitely the rise of the MCU. One of the most day-to-day transformative change of the 2010s, 100% the rise of streaming media. There's no doubt. What percentage of people had a Netflix subscription in... I didn't even run the casino? Okay. What percentage of people had a Netflix subscription in 2010? Like, I don't know, like 8% of the population. What percentage has one now? well, a subscription to some streaming service. I don't know, like 87% of the population. I don't know why I thought about it so carefully, like I was gonna come up with a great answer just out of thin air. Okay, Sonic? I don't even know what that means. Please tell me this is not a... You're barking up the wrong tree if you think there's gonna be a random reference to Sonic the Hedgehog movies and that I'm gonna pick them up. Those, I don't... Something about... And I don't mean this to be super negative, but there's something about the people who see the Sonic the Hedgehog movies seem to think that they're like this enormous cultural event that everybody has was there. What was the biggest moment for your theater in Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Was it when they played Live and Learn? And I'm like, my brother in Christ, I haven't seen either of the movies yet. I do see a frame of Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, every time I go to Netflix Kids when I'm watching TV with my daughter, and then they're like, hey, because you watch Peppa Pig, you should watch Sonic the Hedgehog. Don't blame me, that's the Netflix algorithm that's saying people who like this also watch this, okay? But I'll be honest with you, if you're in the bubble of knowing people who have kids, people who watch Peppa Pig also watch everything. Because, like, every kid on Earth apparently watches Peppa Pig, which is also totally fair. You know what? Let me get a dragon egg. Peppa be saying any crazy shit lately? Nah, it's pretty much, you know, mostly they're just, like, buying groceries and stuff. They're not getting into too many, like, you know... There hasn't been, like, a heist or anything recently. There hasn't been a very special episode of Peppa Pig. By the way, the whole last week that I had food poisoning, also my daughter was out of daycare with a cold. In case you're looking for, like, man whose life was hardest last week, I'm not saying I would even be in, like, the top 10, but if we're talking, like, top 100 worldwide. Also, man whose wife's life was hardest the past week for sure. It's amazing, like, when my daughter hasn't been in daycare for, like, a week, it's like, the fridge is just... pasta we cook for her and strawberries. It's like the concept of going out and like cooking something for ourselves, it just seems like, you know, you just deprioritize yourself over and over and over again. Now she's been in daycare for 2.5 hours. We're fixing, and I say we, is really entirely my wife, but my wife is fixing the squeaky door hinges. Like that's the kind of momentum you can get. I swear your daughter's out of daycare more than she's in daycare. What a trenchant observation. I never thought of that myself when I wrote the checks. Or get comments, I had tweeting about how I had like diarrhea 30 times in 8 hours, and then somebody replies and is like, when's the next bespoke Super Auto Pets video on YouTube? I don't know. I'll let you'll be the first to know, I promise. I'll pencil you in. Any askers? Well, there's one asker. Again, I'm not turning it, like, everything's fine. I'm just saying. What am I supposed to do with that? You think I'm not aware of that information? Come on. Of course I'm aware of that information. It's like a messed up thing to say. I thought he looked thinner than normal. Honestly, I would say the only good thing about food poisoning, I really appreciate this, is that on Friday when I was live, I did get a lot of comments that said looking lean, king. Which, at least, food poisoning, I mean, I looked worse for sure, but definitely I had malnourished myself to a little bit more of like an angular cheekbone sort of structure. So I wouldn't recommend it. In fact, I would have given up like 6 months of weight loss progress just to have like a healed butthole instantly, but at least there's some positives that come with it. Well, I guess I shouldn't call it a positive, but you know, you get the idea. Kind of problematic to call it a positive, but look, nobody's on an eating disorder where they're like, let me poop once an hour. I don't know if there's a diarrhea-based eating disorder. If there is, I feel bad, for sure. Mostly because I lived that life, you know. That's literally a diet fad? Yeah, don't, like, concern troll. In the fucking 1950s, when you'd read, like, Good Housekeeping and there'd be an ad for, like, a tapeworm or something like that. This is really problematic. My aunt in 1950s suburbia drank that tapeworm juice. If she was watching this stream right now, she would be very offended. Anyway. I mean, I can do what everyone does, right? I can just acknowledge that that's bad and then say, don't do that. I wasn't doing it intentionally. I just happened to consume some cat poop or something, and then, you know, that's how it kicked it into gear. Is your food poisoning completely gone? I apologize. I can't help but be pedantic. I feel like, I don't know if my poisoning is gone completely yet. I feel like 90%, but I don't know. Am I still poisoned? You gotta ask my body that. Is your Minecraft health bar green? I don't even really know what that means. Green means you're healing, right? 90% of the Minecraft I ever played was before you had to eat food to survive. Go green means you're poisoned? Oh, okay. I don't know. I would say I have taken all of the damage over time already. Maybe my HP is lower than it needs to be. I need to eat like a few watermelons real quick. Get myself back to fighting shape. Still watermelon season in Vancouver? Bro, it's been, like, cold, dude. I mean, I don't know if it's watermelon season to begin with, but... It's, like, what's today? June 20th? This weekend, it was, like, 13 degrees Celsius and cloudy. Like, I've resigned myself to the fact that we're just not gonna have a summer this year, and that's okay. I'll live with that. There's nothing much you could really do about it. I'm gonna become one of those insufferable people who's, like... You know, at least there won't be any wildfires, as if fire can't start at 13 degrees Celsius or lower. Pacific Northwest summer doesn't start till July. I mean, I've lived here for like 10 years. I've seen the historical records. This is an atypical year that we're dealing with so far. But like 13 and cloudy is okay. Don't get me wrong, I would love to have some sun. But like, it's just the rain has been extra crazy this year. There's something like, I don't know if it was June, you know, it must have been June. It said like by like June 12th of this year, we had as much rain as we have in the average entire month of June. And then you look at the forecast and it's like 50% projected rain for like the next 8 days. And you're like, okay, all right. There's not much you can do about it. You might as well just chill out, I guess. But must be nice. Here we're in a drought, so we're rationing water. Look, I have sympathy, but don't do that. Like, you could do that with any, you could be like, oh, it must be nice to just be in a drought. I'm presently experiencing a Richter scale 7.7 earthquake right next to me, right? Like, it's always, you could always elevate it like one extra level. We should not have this idea that you can never complain about your weather. Oh, you expected to get 1 day of sun in June? Well, I haven't drank water in 6 months. Okay, well, I don't know, fucking, like, move, dude. It's just idle complaining. That's like 90% of human communication. We shouldn't have to police the complaining here. Especially in Twitch chat, where, like, literally 80% of messages carry like a negative emotion attached to them. But then when like the streamer says something, well, you should actually be happy. For lunch yesterday, I ate dirt. Like, okay, well, like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm the only one who's not allowed to complain during conversation. Doesn't make any damn sense. Rain is your trade-off for snow-free winters? Yeah, it rains like in the winter time instead of snowing. I mean, we don't have to do this every time. It's getting to be a little much. I mean, I'm not saying, like, oh, the weather should be sunny. Because, like, I get that the weather is the weather, right? Like, what are you gonna do? But, like, I just feel weird when people apply, like, a moralistic lens to it. Like, you shouldn't complain about the weather. Okay, then you shouldn't complain about fucking a lot of stuff. Do you think that Joe Biden should stick to stationary bikes? No, stationary bikes are actually a lot easier to fall off of. It's the momentum that helps keep you anchored in the seat. You notice he only had a problem when he stopped moving. A bike is at its most tenuous when it's not in motion. Which is why, like, I'm amazing at riding, because I've never fallen off my Peloton even a single time. And that shit doesn't go anywhere. There's literally a West Wing plotline. It's just funny. Like, I don't, if you're so politics pilled you can't see the humor in the most powerful man in the world tumbling off of his bicycle, regardless of where you find yourself on the aisle, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You are truly lost. If Bernie Sanders was elected president and he fell off his bike while doing like a promotional stop somewhere, I would laugh. Pretty much no matter what, if an old man fell down while riding a bicycle, I would... It's not funny because they're old, it's funny because they're powerful. Seeing a powerful man with the nuclear football reduced to an inevitable... Because once you start tipping over, you're gone, right? To see the world's most powerful individual reduced to just holding the handlebars until they hit the sidewalk, it brings them down to the level of the common man. It's egalitarian. It would be inauthentic not to at least chuckle. Are you saying it was staged? You guys need to turn your country on and off again. Honestly, like, it's just this... I'm not saying it was staged. I'm saying he's a 78-year-old man falling off a bicycle. You don't have to stage that shit. It's not a moon landing. I'm sure it happens all the time. If anything, it's kind of humanizing. I said the same thing with George W. Bush almost died because he choked on a pretzel. Even as, like, a Jon Stewart devotee in 2004, I was like, well, you know what? In some ways, he's just like me. I could see myself going down that way. Same with when he dodged the shoe, you know? Again, that's not my guy in the White House. I was 16 when the 2004 election woke me up to the reality of the real world, all right? In my heart of hearts, I didn't think there was a world where John Kerry could lose. But even though he wasn't my guy, when he dodged those shoes, I was like, I gotta admit, that's kind of gangster. He dodged the first one. He pops up with like a little bit of like a... He's got a game face on. And then he dodges the second one like the exact same way. That was a funny moment. Throwing the shoes was gangster too. It was all gangster. From the top of the... From the tip of his head to the tip of his toe. It was non-stop gangster. That was my gangster moment of the month, no doubt. Didn't you go to a Republicans election party in 2000? First off, that's slander. Even though I do have to say it is true. Yes, in 2008, I went to a Republican election party. In my defense, it was my friend's girlfriend's election party. And I just assumed because we were like, you know, 19-year-old Canadians that we were all on the same team. And then they start calling out, you know, like the 9th District of New Hampshire goes to John McCain and everybody starts cheering. And I was like, what the hell? What am I doing here, man? That actually, and this is not a joke, and there's no sauce placed on this story at all, but that ended up being like the straw that broke the camel's back with me and that friend. Because and I'm not gonna, look, again, this is like +2 farming, so I apologize. It's their party, and I should have had more respect. But a friend of mine and I, who went there, and were like, you know, rooting for Obama's 2008 victory, as it became clearer and clearer in the night that he was definitely going to win and John McCain was going to lose, the mood got very macabre at this particular house party, except my friend and I were just twisting the knife. Even California comes in. Hey, what's that? Oh, 57 electoral votes? Oregon comes in. That's another 14. Washington. And then, like, the next day... And I want to say, by the way, that, again, this was an uncivil way to act here. Now, maybe... Oh, that was unnecessary. Maybe it's an everybody sucks here, because, you know, and not too many people are going to be playing, like, a violin for them, I'm sure. I'm just saying. The next day, like, my friend would not speak to me at all. Probably, I'm guessing that his girlfriend... like, he was not at the party, but his girlfriend was probably like, hey, your friend was like an insane asshole at my house last night, and that caused him some grief. As a result, our relationship was kind of like irreparably damaged, which is sad, but at the same time was also very funny. Plus, even the friends like I'm on good terms with from college, I haven't seen them in like 10 years anyway, so like, no big loss. I mean, again, I think it's an everybody sucks here. I got invited to their party as a guest, and then, you know, behaved honestly like a horse's ass. Now, maybe it was for a good reason or a defensible reason, but it's not something I would recommend. But it, you know, it happened, and again, it has led to a very funny story as well. Their party, their rules. Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure they were like, just go home. But we stayed. We stayed all night long. Oh, man. I should have known it was like a Republican party, too. Because, like, what kind of 20-year-old has a catered election party for a foreign election? That shit was crazy. Should have been the first tip right there. When I went there and there weren't just like bags of Lay's potato chips, there was like hors d'oeuvres and stuff. I should have sniffed that out right away. Like something is not right. When was the last time I was thinking about this today? Let me set the stage for you, okay? When my in-laws were here on Saturday, we went to a park. We were there for like 3 hours. I would also like to say, big ups if you've ever been to Rochester Park in Coquitlam. Goated park for kids. Holy cow. It's got one of those zip lines where you like stand on a platform and then the parent can like throw the kid like across the zip line and they go like zoom. It's got a huge slide and a tiny slide. It has like great monkey bars and stuff like that. Like we didn't have this stuff when we were kids, right? Great park, honestly. But we were there for like 3 hours. It has a huge like water park section. Not like, you know, Disney's California Adventure or whatever, but like, you know, there's some water elements. We were there for like 3 hours. I got so thirsty because I was still dealing with this like food poisoning. Kate's dad, like a vision across the Sahara Desert, came to me with a sealed plastic water bottle and said, "Here you go." It got me thinking. When was the last time you drank water out of a soft plastic bottle? And honestly, this was the first time for me, I think, since like maybe like being in an Uber in 2014 or something like that. It had been a long time. I think there's some people who said, you know, I'm never drinking plastic water bottles ever. And now that I think about it, I drank a lot of it in Korea because the water was untenable. But anyway, unpotable, I guess I should say. Dispotable. Despicable. Regardless, it had been years at least since I had consumed a plastic water bottle. But then there's some people who like every time they go to the grocery store, they buy like a pallet or something like that. What a first world take. Yeah, I live in the first world. I don't have any... It would be like substantially more cringe, I think, if I adopted some third world takes and then started acting like they're, you know, things that I deal with on a daily basis. I mean, I think that would be substantially more disingenuous. Maybe that's just me, though. You know, if I was like, oh, you know what I hate? The constant specter of malaria. You would be like, what the hell? You live in a place that doesn't even really have mosquitoes. And I would be like, yeah, but I think it's important to, you know, remember that there's some people that do. Doesn't make any damn sense, man. Plus, yeah, hey, that's the thing. I live in Canada. We got problems up here. Telecom oligopoly. I didn't eat cat poop to get the food poisoning. It's a possibility that some pathogenic bacteria could have entered my body via the fecal-oral route, okay? But I did not consume... Eating, I think, implies that I was chewing and maybe even did it willfully. That was not the case. See, this is what you get, by the way, for being honest. Everybody else, when they get food poisoning, is just like, oh, I bet it was that Mexican food I ate. Oh, at a place that has been investigated by the health department 20 times and they never found any violations of the Health and Safety Standards Act. It was definitely that. It was definitely the Mexican food. I'm like, I'm not going to throw any local businesses under the bus. So I admit that there's a chance that I could have either, like, you know, not wash my hands properly after cleaning the cat's litter box and then, you know, put my finger in my mouth to eat some Hershey's chocolate off of my fingertip or something like that. Hey, NL, is Caruana going to win the candidates? I followed a little bit of the candidates thus far. I mean, you know, Caruana's got to be the favorite along with Jan, right? But I really would like to see Hikaru win just for like streamer representation. It would be a big win for streamers if one of us, I say that as if I had anything to do with it, but if one of us was in the World Chess Championship, man, that would open a lot of doors. I gotta say though, chess has come like a long way. I like chess broadcasting. When I was a kid, you would literally get the results of the games in like a fucking magazine. That was like oh, I wonder who won the Montreal Open. And then you would wait until like the 3rd week of the next month, and you would get a magazine, and you'd be like, whoa, Thomas Rosell Roosman won the youth division this year. Wow, that's pog. It was crazy. Nowadays, like they got like entertaining broadcasts covering 4 games simultaneously right now. You said that's tight back then? I was on the cutting edge. I probably said, whoa, tubular. Great job, Mr. Bluestein. What city does it take place in? I don't know. I know that the candidates is in Spain. Don't try to trick me, okay? It's somewhere in Spain. They're playing in the most insane venue I've ever seen in my entire life. Especially because the average chess tournament is played in like an old musty church. They're playing like in the middle of the Sistine Chapel or something. The Spanish Sistine Chapel. What is smoking loud, by the way? What is loud? That's just weed? Why is it called loud? They gotta stop making up all these names, man. It's just too much. I'm about to loud up? Why is it? It doesn't even make sense, though. It smells loud. Okay, you know what? I gotta hand it to you. It does smell loud. Loud means it smells too much. This is not a joke. This is real. I had no idea. I guess they didn't want to call it stinky. Hey, bro, you want to smoke some stinky with me? Doesn't sound so cool. Me and the homies rolling downtown smoking stinky. Loud. It has a certain, you know, mysterious quality to it. A certain je ne sais quoi. What the French call a certain I don't know what. The goal is to make it sound like anything other than weed? But like who? Oh, hey, are you smoking weed in there? James, are you smoking weed in the bathroom? No, it's okay, Mom. I'm not smoking weed. I'm just smoking loud. All right, as long as it's not a cannabis product. Were you smoking weed in my class? No, teacher, it's okay. This is loud. It's totally different. Oh, it's for texts. Hey, bruh, you got any loud? Is there a reason you want it to be stinkier? Is the stinkiness considered indicative of its superior quality? We're gonna get Justin on this stream to help you. There's no... Justin is like 36 years old. There's no way he smokes loud. He goes to his like medical dispensary and buys like government cannabis, okay? He doesn't smoke loud. He buys like, you know, CBD Sour Patch gummies at a government store. There's nothing loud about it. Government weed is loud? I've heard that. A friend of mine who is a copious consumer has told me, but he meant it as like a negative way. He never said, wow, this Ontario Cannabis Department weed is loud as hell. I believe he has maligned the loss of quality from the black market to legalization, but in his eyes, it's worth it for the convenience. So again, this is all secondhand knowledge. I don't really have, I don't have that much firsthand experience with it. Hello, I'm smirking loud. Would you believe you're a Great Watch high? Yeah, people will do anything when they're high, though. It's not like... It would be... It's incredible to hear that I'm a Great Watch sober, because, like, sober people, they have, like, a really low attention span and high standards. Like, when you go see a shitty movie, you're like, I'm gonna smoke some loud first, or I'm gonna, like, you know, smuggle a bottle of white Zinfandel in my... Jinko pocket. When you go see like Everything Everywhere All at Once, you're like, I'm not gonna touch that shit for like 7 days. I want to make sure that I can dream after. I don't mean that to be rude to the pot smokers. I'm just saying, like, you really will watch anything. And I've been there. You know how many Uwe Boll movies I watched the one summer that I was high like 4 nights a week? You're just happy to be alive. I guess I'm flattered though. Because I do sort of feel, inevitably there's probably like a natural stop point. But I do feel like we're trending towards a future where like almost everybody you meet outside on a daily basis has smoked weed that very day. Like, I almost feel like we're trending towards a Canada where everybody's a little bit high, at least all the time. And I feel like my perception of being out in public changed a lot once I realized that the average person that I'm interacting with has about like a 40% chance of being under the influence while we're interacting. And I don't really care, to be honest. You know, live your life. Doesn't bother me. I mean, I would definitely rather have everybody be like high than everybody be drunk. That's a given. Smells worse though. Well, I guess. Well, I don't know. It depends. I don't know. Dude, there's like no experience. Well, actually, sorry, this is my first world entitledness coming through again. There's no feeling as unsettling, though, as having to walk past, like, the back door of a bar at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Just like 100 dudes with backwards snapbacks on. It's -6 degrees Celsius. All of their girlfriends are wearing like the shortest dresses I've ever seen in my life, and they're sharing 4 cigarettes. I'm like, nothing's ever happened, but it definitely feels like you're like like one little perturbation, and the whole thing's just gonna like bubble over. Like, you just walk past the place, and like everybody you make eye contact with wants to fight. Like, you can just tell from their face that they're like, I came out tonight to have a good time, but I will fucking fight anybody for whatever reason. Like, that, it's just an unsettling vibe. I don't know, man, they're probably just chilling. Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, probably. But that's not the way it feels to me. They're probably like, what's wrong with this old guy eyeing us up? Writing in his moleskin as he walks by. Leftovers? Dude, raise your hand if you were raised, well, not raised is maybe not the right way to think about it. But rather than raising your hand, let me just tell you my position as a child. I always thought that leftovers were, like, bad. Like, whenever you watch a TV show, and it's set in, like, the... Holy cow, we gotta try. It's set in, like, the 1950s. There'll always be like an angry dad. Leftovers again? Once you actually start cooking for yourself, you realize how incredible leftovers actually are. You get to eat a dinner quality dish that you already put in all the work on. It's a dream come true. Except, okay, and my mom, and I'm being very loving but also very honest here when I say this. My mom was actually a great cook. By mom standards, she's up there. She made a lot of great stuff, and still does, to be honest. But when you're a kid and you get the bad mom meal, like the pork tenderloin in the mustard sauce or something like that, and then like the next night you're like, oh, I made it through the pork tenderloin night. What's for dinner tonight? And then she's like, leftovers, and you're like, no. You're like, I thought I made it through the ordeal, but now I gotta go through the ordeal one more time? And then you just eat it anyway, because you're, like, grateful to have, like, a meal. And then, like, 2 hours later, you're like, I'm hungry, and you eat, like, a whole box of, Nabisco Swiss cheese crackers. No, dude, I don't know. Like, I respect pork as a meat, but, and again, my mom is actually a great cook. There was something wrong with the pork tenderloin growing up. And I don't even mean to be, like, just super negative or whatever, but, like the meat was so, like, wet, so spongy, and, like, gray. Like, it just, the sauce was fine, but I really don't, I've grown up not respecting pork tenderloin. I mean, I find the tenderloin of most meats to be underwhelming, but the pork tenderloin is the worst of all relative to the quality of the other cuts of that animal, in my personal opinion. Pork belly's the best. Dude, I'm pissed off. I made a pork belly 6 months ago. I cooked that shit so hot in the oven that it burned like a shadow of the meat onto the side of the baking pan. It's like I don't even understand. Like, I didn't burn the meat. The meat was, well, I mean, the real problem with the pork belly was that I needed the world's sharpest Hattori Hanzo katana to crack through the crispy skin in order to actually slice it up properly. But like the baking pan itself that I cooked it on has like a flash, like Damon Tools imaged pork belly outline on it that it won't come off. Like, there's no difference in the texture. When you like rub your finger on it, it is actually like baked the visual atoms, the atomic shadow exactly of the pork into the baking pan. Like it became one, they melded together. It's screen printed like a snapshot of the world state at that exact moment. Gamma ray oven. I told you I was cooking it hot, okay? I was cooking loud. I was absolutely cooking loud. Joey's delicious. Dude, honestly, you're never gonna find a snob that is more respectful of the chain restaurants in, like, Western Canada than me. Milestones can die, as far as I'm concerned, and Moxie's can join them. But I think there's a place for Cactus Club, Joey, and Earl's. They're not amazing. They're kind of like an upscale McDonald's, and sometimes the clientele is a little sus. But otherwise, you want some half-decent yam fries and a Szechuan lettuce wrap or something like that, you could do worse. Absolutely. There's definitely worse places to eat in Vancouver. Like Cafe Crepe, for example. The lettuce wraps are kind of good. Dude, the lettuce wraps are they're pretty decent. I mean, the seafood stack was kind of good. I'm not good. I'm the guy. First off, I admitted I maybe ate cat shit, right? I'm okay with cultivating haters. A lot of people that have no life experience are very worried about making mistakes. Oh, I've never been to Joey, but I've read on r/Vancouver. I don't live there. I live in Maple Ridge, but I've read that nobody from Vancouver ever goes to Joey. No, people go there all the time. Okay. It's just like when you live in a city, you don't seek out every meal as like a 10 out of 10. You know, some days you're like, I want a 10 out of 10. Can we get a reservation at Dorsia? And then some days you're like, I could really just go for like a fried chicken sandwich with yam fries. And you go to Joey. Or if Joey is too busy, you go to Cactus Club. Stop saying yam fries. This is what we call them here. You could call them sweet potato fries too. It's okay. Joey Mama. Yams and sweet potatoes are not the same thing. That's cool. I don't really care. It's not like my life's work or whatever is in the speciatic difference between a yam and a sweet potato. I just... Whatever one of them that you at your present establishment have chosen to chop up and put into 375-degree peanut oil and then hit with way more kosher salt than is reasonably responsible for a chef to do, that's fine, but I'll take either. I don't really care. They taste different? That's fine. It's not really my concern, quite frankly. A lot of people in chat, I'm just saying, you're giving off the energy of restaurant question askers. I'm more of like a diner, personally. So I sit down, I look at the menu, and at the... You're asking a lot of questions about the menu that would be answered by the menu. That's all I'm trying to say. I asked the question when Kate and I went out for our anniversary dinner. It was at a relatively fancy Italian restaurant, which means the menu was in Italian, which is something that I'm like, you don't have to do that. That's just my 2 cents. I don't think you have to do that to prove that you're an Italian restaurant. The food on the menu should speak for itself, but then it's like antipasti, firsty, secondi, desserto, and I'm like, okay. So I look at the menu, and it's like there's the appetizers, also known as the antipasto, or antipasti, I guess, and then there's firsty and secondi. So then I start looking at this, and I'm like, well, I don't understand. It certainly seems like there's first courses and second courses. But I don't know if we would order both, or we would order like 2 firsties and then 1 secondie for 2 people to share, etc., etc. So anyway, the waitress came, and I was like, hey, I noticed that the menu has like a first course and a second course. Do normal people order one of each? And then she said, oh God, no. just one of the firsties is enough. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And you know what? I'm glad I asked, because she was right. But I also can't help but feel that that was an error in menu design. Maybe that's how it actually is in the old country. I've never been to Italy, and maybe they want the authenticity of what a real Italian menu looks like. But for me as the customer, I was like, I think you could write this instead. Like, every menu should start with like a how-to at the start of it. Hey, welcome to our restaurant. Most people just order something off. Maybe they order something off of one of these two sections for themselves, and then also something to share. It should always be like, I love when you go into a restaurant with like counter service. And then when you walk in, there's like a flow chart of like, first, pick what you'd like your bread bowl to be made of. Rye, sourdough, whole wheat, or white bread. Then choose a base for your soup. You want cream, tomato, or chicken broth base. And then you're like, step 15, what kind of crunchy toppings would you like to have on your soup with bread bowl? And then the time you get your order in your head, you're like, I'm not even hungry anymore. I'm just stressed out. Sap has a dedicated YouTube thumbnail. Now it's got to get played. It's funny that it's actually almost like the exact opposite. What a draw. Like, it having a dedicated YouTube thumbnail is an indication that it will be played more. Because basically, Drax sent me an email and he was like, hey, do you need any thumbnails? And I was like, yeah, give me a Sap one and give me an Isaac one, because I'm sick of spending 40 minutes a night of limited time just making a face like this. And then, like, getting a random screenshot from the game that's even semi-related. So even though the analytics end up being worse as a result, most of the time, the streamline that I get on my throughput is like, it pays for itself in like a day. It's incredible. It changes my life. What if dude, Marvel will have really screwed up if they don't have a line in the Avengers Infinity War where Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. meet and they say, no shit, Sherlock. Marvel, please, you have a once-in-a-lifetime Joss Whedon-esque opportunity. Joss Loudon? I get it, because wow, loud is weak. Okay, I understand. And raw is war, but you don't hear me bragging. We're close. Calm down. I can see your morb vein. Dude, honestly, when I got off the Peloton this morning, holy cow. I was morbing up. I'm just gonna say it. Not in a good way, by the way. Morbing is bad, right? Like, I had like a spider web of veins on my head. I see why so many bald guys, like if they go to prison, they get head tattoos. Because in situations of great personal stress, you can tell that I'm agitated by the spider web of veins that all, I don't even know what they're feeding. I think they're feeding like the speech center of my brain so that I can say something like I wanted to say to that 12-year-old kid. Hey, why are you out here on the playground yelling at babies instead of going on dates with girls your own age, you loser? I think it's like my fight or flight remix is more like a balk or talk. I don't have a fight or flight. I've got a balk, which means I leave, or I got a talk, which means we're gonna start getting into fisticuffs in the marketplace of ideas. Well, I lost all my points. My brother in Christ, you bet all your points. The Caesar's Palace Gestapo did not break into your house and force you to make an all-in wager. How did this happen? They did? Okay, well, honestly, if you ever watch sports, like, it seems like that's where we're trending right now, is that, like, soon the advertisements are going to be like Kate Upton showing up on the screen. It's like, wait a minute. You don't place bets while the game is going on the world's most popular online casino where all the stars play? What do you have, a tiny cock? And then the ad will just end? Kate Upton fell off. I will say that after the Lean Cuisine ad with Biz Markie and Kate Upton, I don't think I've seen Kate Upton since then. Just remember, you got what I need. Because you got that buttery crust, and you got the cheese I love so much. The ad was like, I mean, it was the height of forced millennial advertainment. Hey, we got a bunch of your favorite childhood artists together along with a hot lady to sell you some pre-packaged microwavable pizza pockets. The Lean Cuisine ad that is breaking the internet today, Biz Markie, Kate Upton, and Snoop Dogg sing "You Got What I Need." Classic song everyone will remember from the 90s. You remember it, right, Jan? You're on a laptop. Do you go for numpad or no numpad? Can we all laugh at Josh for a second for being a boomer? Go ahead, do it. It'll feel nice. Who's using a laptop? Are you in your 50s? Do you carry it in a messenger bag draped over your shoulder as you hurry through the airport to make your connection? A laptop computer? I have a desktop. I'm a gamer. Sorry if that offends you. Level 3 puppy? I can wait around. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. I don't know about this take. You're on a desktop? Yeah, desktop computers are based. Now that we have tablets, there's no need for a laptop. I'm a tablet desktop sort of guy. I get it. You have a Lenovo ThinkPad. Like, congratulations. Olds in chat are -2ing. Dude, I'm not even offended because I know I'm part of the zeitgeist on this one. The only person I know who uses laptops is my mom, and my mom is in her mid-50s. I love her, but like at the same time, I don't love her because she uses a laptop. I love her in spite of the fact that she uses a laptop. I mean, I'm old enough that when I went to school, laptops didn't exist. We chiseled our notes in stone. I hate talking to you. What, were you really waiting with bated breath on the answer? Numpad or no numpad? At this twitch.tv/northernlion, we concern ourselves with the higher order questions, like, do you like a numpad on your laptop keyboard? You can't have a sincere opinion around here. It's dangerous. I'm just surprised to see how many people out there are leaving a light on for laptops, honestly. I would have thought, honestly, like, type a 1 in chat if you're watching this on a laptop. I feel like my prediction is less than 6% of people are watching this on laptops right now. I'm going to start with the obvious. I'm not sure I necessarily fully trust all these results, but look at those ones. Do you have it sitting on a desk or do you have it sitting on your lap? Because if you have it sitting on your lap, like, I'm concerned for you. Have you not read the scientific literature about what that does to your sperm count? Oh, fuck this. -2. -2. I'm just saying read the literature. I haven't read the literature, but the hearsay is not good. Dude, I'm so embarrassingly excited to tell the other parents at daycare that I had food poisoning last week. Oh, man. They're gonna be like, they don't even know what they're walking into. They're gonna be like, how was your weekend? And I'm gonna be like, actually, motherfucker, I have food poisoning. And they're gonna be, they don't even realize whatever they were gonna complain about. Oh, man. Did you see the traffic on the escarpment this week? Nah, doesn't matter. Anyway, okay, she's already live. I will send you over there.